What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. The first episode of the theorycrafting series got enormous amounts of support and love, and I'm really happy to see that you guys enjoyed. So if you haven't checked that out, you should do that. The link to it is going to be in the description. And in this video, we're going to be completing the cast of Blue Lions with Sylvain, Ingrid, Timeskip Annette, and Mercedes, and also Gilbert. So with that said, let us begin. Sylvain is a Lance Cavalier, which is an oversaturated class type, so I've tried to make him unique. He comes with Lance of Ruin, that is his relic, and you can get this as early as chapter 5 if you decline to return this back to Rhea. And this lance gives him +3 attack, and it's effective on flyers and dragons. And if he's within 2 spaces of an ally, then it grants him +6 speed and defense during combat, and also null follow-up. Null follow-up cannot naturally be inherited onto Cavaliers, so this makes him really unique. And the effective damage against flyers and dragons is inspired from his exclusive combat art, Ruined Sky, which you could use with Lance of Ruin. And Null Follow-Up not only makes him really unique in his weapon, but its interaction with Windsweep, his slot B skill, basically cancels out the Windsweep effect, where he can double the foe, but the foe cannot make a counterattack. So this gives him a pseudo fire sweep effect, and this is to reference his combat art Swift Strikes, which is an insanely powerful lance art that only 3 units in the game can learn, including Sylvain. His weapon's primary condition of being near an ally, his Bond, Slot A skill, and Slot C Joint skill all symbolize his flirtatious nature and his personal skill. And Pre-Timeskip Sylvain is basically how he is in Three Houses. He's got good speed, good defense, and good attack. And combined with Lance of Ruin's Null Follow-Up, he can be really unique, and even though this class type is super oversaturated, he can still stand out because of his weapon. Timeskip Sylvain embraces his budding talent in recent magic, and as we can see in Annette's support, he's shown to clearly understand even complicated magic formulas at glance when Annette was having trouble understanding them, so we can make him into a Red Mage Cavalier. His weapon is Solemn Tome and it gives him +3 attack. If he's not near an ally, then he gets the Mirror Impact effect. So his weapon has got Conditional Mirror Impact, which is really strong because Cavaliers cannot really inherit the impact skills naturally. And Sylvain's base kit is a polar opposite to his Pre-Timeskip version, as it wants Sylvain to be away from his allies. This is to symbolize how Sylvain has trouble making many long-term relationships with people. He has got one of the lowest amounts of A supports, and most of his supports just end on B rank. His solo skills also symbolize how Sylvain basically accepts the fact that he pretends to be dumb around people because he really dislikes the pressure of people's expectations, and that can be incredibly suffocating for him. In reality, Sylvain is way more capable and competent than he shows. Upon embracing his budding talent in recent magic, he can run Black Magic Avoid skill, and lull speed resistance is basically to symbolize that. His stat spread is similar to his Pre-Timeskip version with good attack and high speed. Unfortunately, because of the Mage Cavalry BST, I'm not really able to give him any sort of defense, but still he does have higher defense than resistance. And because of the Mirror Impact skill built into his weapon, he can be deceptively bulky, able to have 28 resistance in the player phase, and also being able to stop any kind of follow-up attack of the enemy, so that could help him in his survival. I would like Pre-Timeskip Ingrid to be an Axe Cavalier and a 3-star 4-star demote. Now before I get bullied for my choice in the comments, let me just explain my reasoning. So I do not want her to be a Lance Cavalier or a Lance Flyer for her Pre-Timeskip version. Ingrid has cavalry proficiency in 3 houses, and I've only made her into an Axe Cavalier because I want to make her unique, and Axe Cavaliers are quite rare too. Also, many players like to make Ingrid into a Brigand to get Deathblow, then make her into a Pegasus Flyer, and then make her into a Wyvern Lord, and finally into a Falcon Knight. So you need Axe rank on her for Brigand and Wyvern Rider class, and those classes can help her fix her attacks, so it's not really all that unoptimal to have Ingrid train up in Axes in 3 houses in my opinion. So she is really fast at 40 base speed, and we don't really have many offensive fast Axe Cavaliers, so she's going to be quite unique. Fire Sweep Axe has no business staying 5-star locked, so she brings that to free-to-play players. So Sparrow 2 and also Rouse Attack Defense. With her high speed, she's basically the best Fire Sweep Axe Cavalier in the game because there's really no competition in that field. As for Timeskip Ingrid, I think you guys know it's really obvious. Queen of Fodland Skies, Timeskip Ingrid is obviously a lance flyer with her relic Lewin, so this gives her -1 special cooldown and it is effective on dragons. And she has got Flashing Blade 4 built into her weapon, which gives her true damage, and Flashing Blade is not inheritable to flyers, so this is really good. And her slotted skill is Steady Impact, basically a variant of an impact skill which can give her +7 speed and +10 defense in the player phase. The Dragon Effectiveness and Flashing Blade 4 built into her weapon is a reference to Burning Quake, Lewin's exclusive combat art, and it does, scale off based off her speed, so that's why Flashing Blade 4 is present there. Ingrid is also deceptively bulky because of the impact skill and her high speed and Pegasus flight, and Gale Force is a 4-turn cooldown special because of the -1 cooldown of Lewin. And she doesn't really need any kind of outside help to trigger this in a single combat where she doubles. And this is also a reference to Kanto skill, which is mainly most insane on flying units in Three Houses. And she's insanely good Gale Force unit because of that. And when you're a Gale Force unit, having not very high attack is actually more preferable so that you don't really one-shot your targets. And if you don't really want to run Gale Force on her, then you could also run Glacies, and that becomes a 3-turn cooldown special that she can trigger in a single round of combat for insane damage output. Flashing Blade 4's true damage is a reference to her Crest of Daphne, and she's the perfect candidate for Pegasus flight, seeing her growth rates in Three Houses with extremely high speed and high resistance. So as I said, it does work out really well for her, and she doesn't have the highest attack, which is kind of similar to Three Houses, but still she has her other ways of doing damage with really devastating specials like Glacies or with true damage of Lewin. And not to mention the effective damage on dragons does help her in those matchups. Even though we have got a lot of lance flyers, Ingrid with this kind of build is still gonna be able to stand out. I was honestly really disappointed with their implementation of Pre-Timeskip Mercedes in FEH because Mercedes is my favorite Three Houses character, and I've tried to do justice to her in her Timeskip version. So in the Timeskip version, she embraces her budding talent in bows, and she's a colorless infantry archer. Her weapon is Tantalum Bow, which gives her +3 resistance, and if she deals damage during the combat, it restores 10 HP to her. So it's pretty similar to Soul Lance of Foresight. The secondary effect of this weapon is close call like damage reduction, but instead of scaling off based off her speed, it bases off her resistance, and resistance is the strongest suit of Mercedes. Her slotted skill is a new tier 4 skill that I would really like to have in FEH. It's Breath of Life 4. Breath of Life in general is not a very good skill to have, and it's mostly useful in Rooker Siege. However, the tier 4 version of the skill is much better. First of all, this is a mixed phase skill, so it not only triggers in player phase but also in the enemy phase. And if the unit attacked, it restores 8 HP to allies within 2 spaces. So it basically has the range of healing similar to the Heron units. Tantalum Bow in Three Houses is not really an exclusive relic for Mercedes, but it's a sacred weapon and she makes the most out of it because of her Crest of Lamine. And she can heal up 10 HP per attack, which is a reference to the healing from the bow. And her personal skill Live to Serve, which Intelligent Systems even forgot to give that to her Pre-Timeskip version. The resistance variant of Close Call like damage reduction is a reference to her relic Raphael Gem in Three Houses. It also has damage reduction in Three Houses, so I thought having that kind of effect in her weapon is going to be doing her the most justice. Breath of Life 4 is a reference to how kind and caring she is, and even when she's not a healer, she's still healing her allies in FEH. Mercedes is a mage killer through and through. In Three Houses, she also has really insane resistance and is just unfazed by any kind of magical attack. So with her high resistance, resistance-based damage reduction, the self-healing, Mirror Sans 3 all make her an extremely deadly mage killer in FEH. A lot of mage nukes in FEH have extremely high attack and speed, but they don't really have that much resistance a lot of times, so Mercedes can use that to her advantage, and with her weapon she can reduce the damage and just be a fantastic mage tank. Pre-Timeskip Annette is honestly a pretty powerful unit in FEH, and Timeskip Annette couldn't be any different. So this time she has put down her Crusher and she is an infantry green mage. Her weapon is Ventus, which gives her +3 attack, and it does have adaptive damage, and if she uses any kind of rally skill on an ally, then she also grants them the bonus doubler effect, which is extremely powerful. Her slotted skill is Swift Impact. It is not in FEH yet, but it's probably going to be something like this, giving her +7 speed and +10 resistance in the player phase. Making Annette into a green mage does make sense because most of her recent magic spells are wind based, and she still has adaptive damage in her weapon referencing her relic Crusher. And Timeskip Annette can also act as a support unit here, but instead of the rally movement, she's able to provide the bonus doubler effect, and she already has a dual rally skill and joint hone speed, so she can buff up 3 stats of an ally on top of giving them the bonus doubler effect. This of course does have its weakness to panic, and panic status is in general pretty common, but still this is a really powerful and consistent support role. We do have Legendary Eliwood and Duo Marth who can provide this kind of thing, but theirs is a bit restrictive in nature. For Eliwood, he can only do that to high attack units, and for Marth, he can only do that to armored and flying units. But Annette does not discriminate and can give an ally this kind of support, but she's not here just to support. She can hold her own ground with that adaptive damage with high 37 base attack and swift impact, which makes her really bulky in the player phase. Joint hone speed references her friendly nature, and the ruse skill can be perceived as the mayhem caused by her clumsiness, which is basically a running joke in a lot of his supports. We cannot forget Old Man Gilbert. Even though he belongs to Church of Cerros, you can only recruit him in the Blue Lines route. So I would like him to be a Tempest trial reward, and I can really see Intelligence Systems doing this because he's an old male character. So he's gonna be an Axe Armor, which makes the most sense for him. He joins as a 178 BST Tempest trial reward, which can help a lot of people in scoring modes like Arena. He has got Smite and Defense Res Solo to symbolize how he distanced himself from his own wife and daughter because of his shame. And Attack Speed Gap symbolizes his willingness to guide and help youngsters like Dimitri in the Azure Moon route, and also Ashe in their supports. Because the skill is a global buffing skill, it also symbolizes the fact that while he has been away from his wife and daughter for years, he still dearly loves them, because it has been shown to us that he continued to write letters on important days to them, but he never really had the courage to send it to them. He brings some nice fodder as a free unit. Sling Hammer Plus surprisingly has never been easily available and can help you save some refining stones. And Defense Res Solo, even though it's a solo skill, I don't really think it's that insane. And same goes for Attack Speed Gap. And they have demoted a unit with the Rouse skill in Ferdinand, so I do think that these Gap skill could be easily available. So that is gonna wrap up the Blue Lions characters. I wanna thank Adam and Alfred for helping me fine tune these theory crafts, and I wanna thank all of my YouTube members for supporting me. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and share this video with your friends who are a big fan of these characters. I'm sure they're going to be enjoying seeing this theory craft. And let me know in the comments which theory craft was your favorite out of all of these, and which units you want me to cover next. So that said, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I wish YouTube sub boxes were about as effective as Dimitri's atrocity. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.